Hi friends, Apex Legends Season 19 feels a little bit different, and that's because the meta has been switched up slightly across the game. So today we're going to cover the legend meta, the ranked meta, and the weapon meta in Season 19. I'll start with a little bonus meta for you though on the game modes. With the current Post Malone 3 Strikes LTM, the meta for game modes, at least for the next week while it's still around, seems to be grinding this mode for kills and certain hard badges like the 10-10-10 teamwork. So if you're looking for what modes people are playing as the meta right now, 3 Strikes seems to be the hot mode. Let's jump into the legend meta. I've got some interesting pick rate stats to show you right now to help you understand the meta. You can see Conduit has the highest pick rate at 9.7%. No doubt it's because she's the new legend this season, although her pick rate has dropped since the start of the season, and I expect it will continue to fall, but I do see her pick rate still remaining somewhere close to the top 10, and that's because she is quite a fun legend to play, but at the same time a very useful legend to have in your team. For me personally, I've been playing a lot of Conduit this season, and I really feel like she suits my playstyle. No surprises for Masters and above ranked players, Horizon's still at the top, with a 19.3% pick rate. That's 7% higher than this time last season for Masters players. What I do find interesting is that Conduit is the second in the meta for these high level players, suggesting she has got some viability in the higher ranked lobbies as well. Of course, you can see there Bangalore's still going strong for Masters and above players in third place as well, and it's great to still see her going strong. I think in part her utility on maps like Stormpoint and Broken Moon have also led to her being a strong part of the meta. When you add to that the fact that the scanning meta has also fallen off with Sia having such a low drop rate, which you'll see in just a moment, that's kind of added to Bangalore's utility. One other thing you'll notice is that if we go back to look at the general pick rates across the player base, and this is thanks to Apex Legends status by the way, you can see how high Lifeline's really gotten, and this actually ties into what I said earlier about the game modes, because 3 Strikes is the new meta game mode, and that's driven up Lifeline's pick rate, which is kind of obvious because the fast res mechanic means Lifeline is now very useful in 3 Strikes. Now I did mention Sia a second ago and the scanning meta. If you look at the bottom of the legend meta, you can see Sia has dropped massively and is now the lowest picked legend in the game. So overall you can see there's still a pretty strong movement legend meta, but you've got those support legends definitely holding some of the meta this season as well. Moving on to the ranked meta, the new promo trials make it feel a little different this season. You have to complete these trials that essentially force you to be more active in the final games of your rank if you want to get promoted into the next rank. Now this hasn't 100% stopped the ratting, because technically you can still rat up to the point of the promo trials, at which point then you have to start being a little bit more active. However, there is a noticeable reduction in ratting. At least that seems to be the general consensus if you look across social media, and even my ranked video with the hundreds of comments it's got, you'll notice ratting does seem to be a little bit lower than previous seasons, and it's nowhere near as high as what it was in season 17. One other thing I will say about the ranked meta because of these trials is that you're finding a lot of people getting hard stuck in tier 1 and tier 2 of a rank, compared to previous seasons where you used to get hard stuck in tier 4 of the rank above you. To go with this, matchmaking hasn't been completely fixed in ranked, and what that means is, with the current ranked meta, you will still get situations where your teammates aren't quite up to your level, and this can mean it's harder to complete those trials and also rank up this season, especially for solo queue players. On the plus side, ranked points are a little bit more generous in Season 19, and the 10 provisional games right at the start of your season also are now placing you a lot higher. In terms of gameplay for ranked, I would say the overall meta seems to be playing slow until you get to the top 10. As you'll notice, there are a lot more squads generally surviving into the top 10 in Season 19, but once you get to those final zones, it seems to become a little bit more aggressive, and that might just be because people are then trying to complete those trials towards the end of the zones. One other thing I wanted to say, and I don't know if this is just me, but I've noticed a lot more people seem to be gatekeeping the zones in Season 19 of Ranked than I've really ever experienced before. There always seems to be a team just waiting there, looking into the zone, waiting to kill me. It's strange, almost like people are doing it on purpose to try and get those kills for their promotional trials. But maybe let me know in the comments if this is something you've also experienced. But that kind of sums up how the Ranked meta's been this season. Let's finish with the weapon meta. For the first time in a while, it feels like you have a fairly good selection of weapons across each category. There's a bit of a burst rifle marksman meta going on, and that's mainly led by the fact that both the Hemlock and the Nemesis are on the floor, while the R301 is in the crafter, and essentially that means burst rifles take over the popular assault rifle category. On top of that, the 3030 is back on the floor, and with the Skull Piercer still around, is particularly strong. Now when you think about these types of weapons, they go really well with the current maps, particularly Stormpoint and Broken Moon, where there's lots more open spaces and a lot more verticality, where these weapons really excel. Now to go with this weapon meta, the disruptor rounds are still in the game, meaning the alternator is still a pretty strong pick this season. I've also seen a lot more L-Star users this season. If you didn't realise, it's out of the care package, and it's also stronger than the last time it was floor loot, which does explain why so many people are using the L-Star. And that kind of balances out the weapon meta. You've got a bit more range being used with the Hemlock, which is still very strong by the way. You've still got a bit of an SMG meta, lots of people still using the R99, but the alternator with the disruptor rounds is definitely leading the category. Although to be fair, those disruptor rounds are a little bit harder to find these days. And there you have it. That's a summary of the overall meta so far in Season 19 of Apex Legends, supported by a bunch of stats. Let's see how it goes and how the season plays out. I'm sure this meta will evolve, but hopefully for now, this gives you a bit of guidance. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you later.